Welcome to episode number 52 of the BEBC
BS
Podcast.
We're a little light.
We're light and we're late.
Yeah. Some people have priorities in traveling instead of communicating.
Traveling?
Whatever. You were busy.
I told y'all you could do it without me.
Did you really?
Yes.
I didn't hear that.
No one took that bait.
I didn't hear that, but
yeah, something just bit my leg.
It wouldn't be the same without
I'm
you,
in camo tonight, or I'm in orange, because you know why.
Yeah, because you don't want to get mistaken for a dove or something.
Hunting season is open. And out here in the Far East, the guns go off all the time.
They do.
And you just got to be careful. So that's why the bright orange shirt.
Yeah. So turn the contrast down in your screen or whatever.
Seen, not shot. Works. Kind of like the new Plano East uniforms.
Oh, God, those were terrible.
Man, I know
at
we're
least
a couple
something
days
is
late.
fresh with that team.
I'm telling you what, that's the one new thing anyways. We have got, it's just an amazing thing to talk about this game because there's so much that went on Friday. And let's just start with 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon with the weather.
Whoosh. Got a little windy, didn't it?
I'm glad I don't wear a toupee because I know it would have flown off.
Can't even imagine that. Now I'm going to be sick.
Really? Understate.
We ought to all show up with toupees one night, see if anybody says anything. Can you imagine the faces of people?
I think a lot would be said.
That might be funny.
Yeah.
It might be. It might not be.
So it's windy as all get out.
Got to stake the tent down. You got to extra bungee cord or whatever.
Zip ties.
Zip ties.
That tent, and I bought it several years ago, and I did it on purpose. I spent the extra money, bought the high quality, heavy frame because we had been through.
We've been through some tent ruining scenes
with the
over
wind like it was Friday. So we put that up. David and I staked it down. He goes, "Should I put my tent up?" I said, I said, "Don't even." You know, and you set up your chair and you get up out of it immediately. It's down, and you couldn't leave anything out. And it was coming out of the north, and it wasn't cold, but it was cool. Mm-hmm. And if you were in the shade a long time, it was cold. Yep. But David's right. We had 6 zip ties. We put the tent up next to a
big zip
tree.
Ties, yeah.
We didn't put it close enough to the tree.
Well, true.
Like 5 feet from the tree, so we had multiple zip ties attached together to loop around to the tree.
Keep that thing from blowing away, because there were a couple times it actually lifted and you could see it pulling the stakes out of the ground. Yep. So if it had been zip tied, but that's crazy. And so you knew right away the game was going to be affected by the wind.
Yeah.
You know, and you kept thinking it'll die down, and maybe it did some.
A little bit.
But if you were kicking north, you know, either punting or kicking off, just forget it. You know, it wasn't going to be anything of any distance. So that was in the back of your mind.
Well, yeah, and speaking of which, let's just start off there because we started a new kickoff trend. You know, with the going to the north with the little Poochorama double kicker.
Who's kicking the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's shades of practicing for the playoffs to come. Good job, coaches. You're shaking it up. You're twisting things around. You're going to pull a rabbit out of your hat.
I guess they have to think of things to do during the week too.
Well, either that or they got to keep both kickers happy.
That could be as well.
My son doesn't kick. I'm leaving.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
I want to
because kickers are really important,
and they're very sensitive too.
Well, I don't know about that.
And they are sensitive individuals. I've got to give a shout out first of all because we had a pregame incident that was actually kind of scary. We sat on the front row of the upper deck, and none of us saw it, and we were in our seats, and none of us saw it, but there was an elderly gentleman who came to go up the stairs. Evidently, he tripped, and he face planted on the stairs.
With his nose, and then his forehead also smashed his forehead and his nose.
Luckily, his forehead didn't cut, but his nose, I've never seen a nose bleed so big in my life. But there were a couple Allen students.
Yeah, that
saw it happen.
Ran into action.
Right up to him and started administering whatever they could to help him because his
pressure
hands were
with
full
some
of
napkins
blood,
or whatever, yeah.
And Nolan ran and got a whole wad of paper towels and the poor man just stood there and bled, waiting for the medics to get there, and it was just awful. But that one kid especially, and I didn't get his name, just stood there the whole time until the medics got there.
Stayed with him, yeah.
And we say a lot about young people these days, and there are good people, and there is good in people, and that was good to see, because a lot of people just walked on by, but the kid stopped and he helped.
He stayed there with him, yeah.
And that was several of them did.
Good on him, and good on the parents too. You raised some really good kids, so thank you.
Hopefully the man was okay. They took him away on a stretcher. He probably had a concussion because he hit face first.
Yeah.
And off he went, and that was before the game even started. I was like, the poor guy just wanted to come watch a football game, and he ends up going to the hospital.
Yeah. So if you know any detail about the young men young men that stayed and helped, or the fellow that hurt himself, let us know.
Yep.
We'll kind of provide some feedback. Hopefully he's okay, and
hopefully he didn't concuss himself or whatever.
Yeah.
I will have to say, later in the game.
Oh gosh, you don't have to go there.
It was because it's actually pretty funny, because he bled on the stairs. When he fell and he was bleeding, and there were blood drops, a pretty good amount on the stairs. And I don't know, minutes of the first quarter, somebody was coming to the game. They were late, and they got to the stairs, and the guy looked at his tickets, and he goes, "Yeah, see, nosebleed section."
Oh God!
And I was like, if he only knew. He had no idea what had happened. But he said that, and I looked at my wife, and I just started laughing. I said, that is unreal. But that was our pregame right there. It was that.
Yeah.
And Alan loses the toss.
So we're like quaking in our boots. What does this mean?
Because I didn't know.
We'd only lost one other toss.
I wasn't worried. Did you see those uniforms he were wearing?
So were you immediately, this game's over, when you saw the
gaudy looking jeans I've ever seen them come out with?
Hey, it gave them attitude. I'll give you that. And we'll get into talking about attitude on some of their players as well. But,
Chippy.
Allen loses the toss, which Plano East defers, so we get the ball.
Standard.
And I actually printed out the Dallas Morning News actually does a good job. If you want a recap of the game real quick, they do a play-by-play.
But there was a stats explosion, and what was it? The first three series on the part of Plano East.
Yeah, because Allen gets the ball, and Matt Norman has a 40-yard kickoff return. So there you go. Good field position to start. We think, okay, here we go. And in Plano East, and we all in our minds, we know they're not that good. Yeah. So you expect things to go well, 3 and out. You're like, oh. Yeah. So we have to punt into the wind. And
is this where we blame the coach, the play calling, or are we going to?
We weren't that quick.
Oh, okay, good.
But the punt only goes 21 yards because you're kicking into the wind. So East takes over at their own 49. Now this is where we're going to talk a lot about stats this week, and I know stats don't define anything. The thing that matters is the score. But this is a very interesting stat game to me.
There was a stat explosion.
Trey Scott Jones, who is their running back. Good running back. I like him a lot. Yeah. If he had some help around him, he's going to be fine, but he's a good runner. He's a hard runner. He's a big kid. First down, rushes for no yards. Mm-hmm. Okay. Second down, and this I want you to keep in the back of your mind. Hayden completes a pass to Trey Scott Jones for 7 yards. Mm-hmm. 7 yards. Now keep that in the back of your mind as we talk about stats. And then on the third play, the snap gets away from the quarterback. Fumble, it's bouncing around, and out of the pile comes Colin Prince with the ball. Their middle linebacker, and he pretends he's a running back and runs to the end zone. And it's next thing you know, it's 7-0. So you're like, oh, we don't need an offense. We got a defense that can score. So there you go. We're like sitting back. Okay, great. So it's 7-0 Allen. You kick off. Plano East runs furl. They have a penalty for 5 yards. They run one play, and they throw an interception.
Zatique
McGee.
Yeah.
Who shows his running back skills.
Right to him. He's a great receiver. They should try him out sometime.
Yeah. If they run short on receivers.
Well, yeah, we got a lot of those.
There's a few of those running around. And so Allen gets the ball, and you're like, okay. And they get the ball at Allen's 49-yard line. So it was he threw it down the field. He ran it back to almost the line of scrimmage where he was. And so Allen runs 4 or 5 plays. And I have to give the coaches credit because I don't know how they draw these up, but they use Justin Hall in the greatest of ways. And it showed again Friday night, sneaks out of I don't even know if he was in the backfield. He may have been lined up in the slot, probably in the backfield. It's typically where he lines up. Throw him a pass, runs across the middle, and he scores.
Yep.
It's 14-0. You're like, okay.
The route's starting.
And it was easy. It didn't seem real hard at that point.
Yeah.
Allen kicks off. Trey Scott Jones runs 24 yards, which is good. They have another, and then they start going backwards. They have a 1-yard loss, incomplete pass, 8-yard run by Trey Scott, and then quarterback gets sacked and fumbles again. So they've run 3 series now, and it's just amazing what has happened. They got fumble, interception, fumble.
Yeah, and the fumble was on a 4th down, so it was going to be a turnover anyway, but we recovered the ball, and we'll take it.
And so now Allen has the ball at the Plano East 44. Oops, sorry. I said that wrong. At the Allen 40, and Jordan runs for 10 yards. They have a 5-yard penalty, and then you run a slant to Mr. Blaine Green for 44 yards, and it's a touchdown. And it's 21-0. And I think everybody, at least on our row at that point, and the row behind us, was like, game over.
Yep.
And we started talking about all sorts of different things at that point. Because it was very apparent to me that, and I don't know how Plano East has got to this point in 1 year, but they were pretty competitive last year, and they, until the Allen game last year, they were, they had one loss. They were talking trash. We won Allen, and Allen spanked.
They had no swagger this year. No swagger.
And there was none of that this year because you've only scored 62 points in 5 games.
Yeah.
Which you're not going to win many ball games scoring 14 points a game.
Even though that was more than the Jets had scored in their first games.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway. Sorry.
That may be part of this podcast after all, too. So you're like, okay, we knew they weren't very good, and now you're down 21-0. It's still the first quarter, and offensively, they're just horrible.
Impotent. They can't do anything.
Yeah, it's the uniforms. The uniforms.
Yeah, it's the uniforms. It's kryptonite to the quarterback because he couldn't throw for a lick. He couldn't throw for anything.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful, awful, awful.
Well, but our defense had to have something to do with it. I mean, the boys up front were really on fire and just
kudos. And Plano East gets the ball. They go 3 and out. Kick it to Allen. And ends up being, we get to see a new wrinkle. You spoke of new wrinkles on the kickoff. First time we've seen this all year, I think. At least in the touchdown situation. There may have been one on a 4th down earlier in the year, but the heavy package comes in when they get down to the goal line. Raylan comes out.
True.
Cerniglia comes in. Yeah.
Fisher goes in.
Yep.
The big boys go in, and Drew's there taking the quarterback, taking the under center.
Yeah.
Shock of all shocks.
This is like the first time in 3, 4, 5 years that we've gone under center.
All I could think of
can't
was...
remember.
Grant did it occasionally, but it really went flashback to Alec Morris days. Was the last time you had a large quarterback that would do that. 1-yard quarterback sneak early in the second quarter. It's 28-0. And for all intents and purposes, go ahead and put the bands out there now.
Yeah.
This game's over. But you got to play all 4 quarters.
Yep.
And so it just goes on and on and on. Plano East cannot do anything. And it's horrible. You just have to sit there and you kind of at some point say, I heard Nolan yell, running clock, get that started. But, it's only 28-0, but it's the way it's 28-0.
Yeah.
Because Plano East was so inept.
Well, and I mean, it's just sad when your total offense is 138 yards. I'm speechless.
And at halftime, because I went back and I did all the math today. I worked real hard.
You had to add and everything.
They had 60 total yards at halftime.
Yeah.
60. Okay. Remember earlier when I said that pass completion was for 7 yards?
Yeah.
They finished the game with 6 yards passing.
Quite an accomplishment.
6 yards passing after your first pass went for 7, which means over the course of the... Now, they only had 3 completions, which was another part of their problem.
Well, they're keeping it simple.
Well, is that what they're doing? Their quarterbacks were 3 out of 10 for 6 yards. And when you can't, I don't know, unless you're Air Force or Army or somebody who just runs the ball consistently, you can't win. You can't win in this district with 6 yards passing. It ain't going to fly. You're not going to be able to do it. You're certainly not going to do it.
There's not many districts you can win in.
That's true. Yeah, like James said, 138 yards. They had 60 at halftime, which means they had, what's the math there, 78 yards total in the second half.
Yeah.
59 of those yards, 59 of the 78 came in the last 2 drives of the game when they scored their 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Against what, James? Who was in the game?
No, we're not going there.
No, we're not going there.
So they scored 2 touchdowns in their last 2 drives. One was as time was expiring, just about.
Yeah.
To make it 45-14. Allen wins. 406 total yards, 256 passing on 15 of 19.
Yeah.
Which,
so not so much running. I mean, Selden only had 56 yards. 56 yards. So they spread it around.
Yeah. 250 passing, 150 rushing.
Yeah.
You had a defensive touchdown.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of it too was they had short field because there were 4 turnovers.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you didn't have to go as far.
Yeah, that's a big mountain to climb. And my only disappointment in the running game is that we didn't get to see Mr. Speed Demon, little Sam Harris. Sam Hunter. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thinking actors.
He was hurt in
Street
dress
clothes.
clothes.
Yeah.
Street clothes. And you know what? There were several people in street clothes. Luckily, during the game, and I think I mentioned it afterwards to somebody, I didn't see anybody get hurt.
No.
Doc didn't have to go on the field once.
I didn't see that at all.
I like that type of game.
Easy money for the trainers.
Yeah.
At least that night. That's good to hear because there are people that they need to get healthy. Sherfield did not play.
Yeah.
Which was good, though, for, Talon and, what's the other kid's name? Not Talon. Toure and Tejan.
Right.
Whew! All these T names. Toure Green and Tejan Jackson both got in the game in the slot, and both had catches.
Got some action.
Was good. Green Twins do what the Green Twins do, and so that was good experience. But you want to have everybody healthy in there that typically starts a game, and
That's right.
Sherfield was on crutches. Hope he's doing better this week. Like to have everybody back, good to go. The good thing is you got a lot of depth. They got a lot of playing time. I think the starters, I'll call them, played 1 series in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And then they pulled everybody, and so there were a lot of people. Everybody played, I do believe.
Everybody got reps.
Unless they were in street clothes. So that's good. It never hurts to have that depth. Penalties were down.
That was good.
Down to 6 from 10 and 11 from the weeks before, which is always good to see. So overall,
yeah, because we're really going to need it going up against a really tough team like Jesuit, who just destroyed Prosper.
Man, that's next on the list to talk about, and you're just like,
I figured we were getting there. I'm like,
as I said,
I can read your mind. I'm psychotic.
You're digging into the cake before the main course.
People were bored because the game got out of hand so quick, and so everybody was on their phones, and I don't even know who started it, but somebody, Prosper beating.
Oh my God! Yeah, everybody was
beating Prosper, and it just all around us. It just spread, and
you'd say it, and then 30 seconds later, somebody else, hey, did you hear? Yeah, we heard.
But you're like, okay, how does this happen? And it's 27-7 at halftime, at halftime. And you look and you go, what's happening up there in Prosper? Well, it seems the turnover. Yeah, the turnover bug. It was at Jesuit. I'm sorry. That's why they lost. They didn't play at home.
I said that. I said, if they've got a chance to win, it's going to be at Jesuit because it's a small field. I bet the stadium was overpacked.
Probably. Yeah. But the turnover bug seemed to bite Prosper. I think they had 3 at least, if not 4 turnovers, and typically
where Allen has been fortunate doing the same thing.
Yep.
Prosper was not so fortunate.
No, and you wonder, and I ride the poor kid for this, but you got to be careful what you say these days because people pay attention, and
It comes out.
the Prosper
It's a wide receiver.
wide receiver a couple of weeks ago, said, "Hey, we've got the best defense in the state." Well, your poor defense, best in the state, gave up 41 points to a small private school.
Yeah, with like 1,000 boys
Yeah.
attended. So
And you're like, what happened here? And you wonder because again, not being there, you don't know exactly what happens, but it appears it wasn't close at all. And let's just see here.
well, and to their credit, I guess Jesuit seems to have found a little bit of a good thing by changing running backs out and having EJ work out mostly as a
Yeah.
receiver and the other fella taking the snaps at running back.
Yeah.
That seems to be a dangerous package for him.
They Jesuit had 415 yards of total offense in that game. 293 rushing, which is,
It's pretty impressive.
pretty good number. Jake Taylor is that running back you were talking
Got
about.
it.
21 carries, 156 yards. EJ was 22 for 93, so he had a good day.
He had some good a number of runs, more than I thought.
Yeah, they ran him a lot more than they had previously. He had 3 receptions for 57 yards, though, too, so
Yeah.
he had a good game. What I'm impressed with, because Prosper's offense, they're averaging over 40 points a game. They're in the top 10 in yards per game. Jesuit held them to 240 yards.
That is
Which-
impressive.
That's pretty low. I mean, if you think for a high school, 13 first downs, 150 passing, 90 yards rushing. They did have 4 turnovers, only 4 penalties.
4 turnovers.
So Jesuit's defense stood up and said, "Okay, you got the best defense in the state. Let's compare." And Jesuit just slapped them around. So,
Yeah.
and I went, and Jesuit is obviously Allen's opponent this week. So a game like that catches your attention. You say
Okay. They got a little something,
they're 4-2.
right? They're not Plano East.
Here's the teams. They lost to Arlington.
Yeah.
Arlington's a pretty good team.
Yeah.
They lost their first 2 games, and they lost to DeSoto, which you could probably call
Wasn't it
that.
Arlington played Geyer really strong this last week?
Yeah.
I forget, yeah.
Both those games were without EJ. He did not play the first 2 games of the year.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then
Well, that makes
here's
sense.
who they've beaten. They beat Wiley, Plano West, McKinney Boyd. I would say those 3 games you probably would expect them to win.
Yeah, so
And
far
then-
it's a Cowboys schedule.
And then they surprise you with the Jesuit win.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Prosper win.
Yeah.
So you got a 4-2 Jesuit team coming in, high off a big upset of Prosper. I think we're safe to call it an upset.
Yeah, Prosper had been flying high because they had 49 against Keller, 34 or 57.
Yep.
49 against McKinney, 42 against East. Yeah, so that was a shocker.
I do believe it was. I think everybody was totally shocked by that game.
Including Prosper.
Yeah, it makes you. You kind of don't know how to take that from an Allen fan perspective because you kind of
Yeah.
want them to be undefeated when they played.
True.
But now they're motivated because they know in order to win district they have to beat Allen at this point.
That's right.
Not that they wouldn't have had to before
Yeah.
if they were undefeated, but now they cannot afford that second loss for sure. Because Allen's probably, Allen, Jesuit, McKinney Boyd, Prosper, and Plano West. You look at that and go, Allen's obviously going to be favored in all those games. So Prosper knows they're going to have to. They're going to have to win out too.
Yeah.
And they.
Well, I can see a scenario if we end up dropping the turnover battle and lose 3 turnovers plus, then we're extremely vulnerable. Now, whether they do that or not, I don't think so, because this team has seemed to be a lot more consistent than teams in the past, both on the defense and offense. From tackling to maybe we'll drop a pass more than we'd like them to, but. Ball security has been pretty good for this team this year.
Yeah, other than on maybe special teams. we've had some issues there, but
Yeah.
drop passes.
Bad
are probably,
decision making, and when to.
and the penalties seem to
after a point.
arise too. Sometimes we put ourselves behind, and a lot of that is from just the aggressive play, which you encourage to a point. When it starts hurting you because you're being too aggressive, then you need to obviously dial it back.
Well, obviously that hits in the playoffs, but you've also got, if you remember back to the Rockwall game last year in the playoffs, they seem to be very, very much taking advantage of our aggressive nature and allowing us to over pursue and put a little crease in the defensive line, and boom, they're gone.
Off to the races.
With Jackson Smith Nahingba.
There is a front moving through, and we're hearing it.
There is. Well, I saw rain and lightning coming as we were coming up here.
The wind's picking up outside.
They followed me in from Flower Mound area.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were over there. David brought it with him. So Friday night, 7 o'clock, last home game of the year.
Yep. Senior night?
Until the playoffs, probably.
Senior night?
It is senior night.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Home.
Senior night, home game.
And we get to watch the seniors come out of the A-hole for the last time.
If the wind cooperates. Yeah. Thank you for leaving that thing at home on Friday, too. Cause
that was
smart thinking on somebody's part.
It allowed us to relax a little bit and not get all tense at the beginning.
Talk about it. So yeah, it's Jesuit will be riding high. They just beat one of the other undefeated. They're still undefeated in district. Yeah. Allen and Jesuit are both 3-0. And dadgummit if Plano doesn't keep finding a way to win.
They blasted. I mean,
the
game ended up the next day, right? Saturday.
Yeah, wow. It was 35-14. They were playing McKinney on Thursday night. The game got...
So it ended up Friday. Okay.
Yeah,
Friday
it was 35-14 at half, I believe. Last I looked, it was 35-28 in the fourth quarter. McKinney was coming back. Got delayed by weather. So they played at 1 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people were in the stands for that. I think they had a game later that night in McKinney, so they had to get it out of the way. And Plano ends up winning 56-49. McKinney's throwing in the end zone the last play of the game.
It could have gone either way.
So Plano's sitting there at 2-1, and I tweeted to Professor Diggs. I said they're going to find a way to slide in the playoffs again, and they'll never fire that coach. I said he'll be there forever because he'll look at, hey, I made the playoffs.
Yep.
Hey, I made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because they've got. I mean, they squeaked by West 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So they still have, Boyd and Plano. I think they play Plano East this week, which after seeing Plano East, I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's a rivalry game, so that can make some difference. But, if they go to 3-1 with a win over McKinney, because I think McKinney's the only other team in my mind that has any chance of I don't think
making the playoffs.
East or Boyd or
no, I don't think East and Boyd don't,
or West certainly aren't going to get 3.
I mean, you've heard nothing from West.
No, and McKinney's already played Prosper and Allen, right. So that's out of their way. So I can see them finishing 3-3. So the question is, where does Plano end up? Because I think Jesuit will be in the playoffs too.
Yeah,
because they're fixing to have all their big boys out of the way.
Well, it's surprising for Plano, too, because we had all noted it during our game with them, just the number of kids on the sidelines. It's really tough. They were down around 50 or so.
Yeah, which is unheard of for Plano football.
I know.
Crazy. But there they go. They're 2-1.
There's got to be some way that they can build up the rosters a little better than that or get more participation, whatever it is.
I mean, after seeing them, to think that they can be 3-1 in district after this week, I guess kudos to the boys, those kids for.
I know it's an accomplishment in the District of Doom.
I don't know about that, but after seeing them, I was just like, "There's no way this thing," because they were awful. Now they weren't as bad as East, but they were awful.
Yeah.
I mean
it was ugly.
It wasn't it 42-0 at one point in that game?
Yeah,
yeah. I mean it was
well, and when you get to comparing and we're more similar enrollment, so it's a little easier to compare. But just the quality of the Allen team, brings out all the flaws and stuff in the other team, and you just see it. It's more stark contrast and comparison.
Yep. Well, and that goes back, we didn't talk too much about it, but Plano East, bless their hearts, how did they go from being very competitive last year to what we saw Friday night?
Yeah.
Now, I know graduation hits everybody, but, and again, you're looking at the school, and I thought their participation numbers were down.
Yeah.
East. They seemed to be
It was better than Plano's, but yeah.
It didn't seem like they had 65 or 70 kids on the sideline like they usually do. But boy, they were a cocky bunch.
Mm-hmm.
You're down, 35 to nothing.
They had some
and
attitude.
Number 15 and number 12 or
number 44 was knocking around out there.
And you're just like, guys, just take it and go. Well, you're embarrassing yourself, acting like that. But anyhow, that's how they coach them in Plano. So, Friday night, 7 o'clock, Jesuit is in the house.
Looking forward to it.
And we forgot to do something that we need to do. This is our 52nd podcast.
It is.
So
we've actually got 2 kids that we can, not 1, 2.
1, 2.
2 and 2.
2. That's about as high as we can count. But currently, number 52, playing for Allen at defensive end is Mr. Malik Allen. So shout out to Malik, who's had a good year.
Yeah.
Been in on a lot of, very active. And then the blast from the past, not too far back, but we did this because there's a sibling relationship between this year's team and
Mason Norris.
2017.
Yeah.
No, 16.
16.
Is he still at Austin College?
Last I heard he was.
Yes, I think he is. Playing ball at Austin College. I saw him a couple of weeks ago. He was down for a game.
He looks very fit.
Yes. It's amazing what college does to the college days.
Yeah.
When we were all looking like that.
Yeah. Shout out to Mason and Malik, because we all used to.
That's right. We all used to not look like we do now.
No.
So,
more svelte.
Congratulations on the 52s. And our player profile this week.
Yeah. We're honoring
Mr. Adams is taking that.
Yeah, we've taken on this new thing if you haven't been watching the podcast, but we like to honor some of the players from the recent past. And so the player this week is one that is a favorite of mine, always fun to watch, and that's Jalen Jones, a quarterback safety. And when he was here at Allen, he ended up getting recruited as a 4-star prospect and ended up going to Ole Miss. But while he was here at Allen, he was ranked, the 9th best cornerback by Scout, 11th best safety in the nation according to ESPN, and number 19 according to Rivals. And he was ranked number 125 overall prospect according to Scout, and number 206 on the ESPN 300, which is a pretty good attainment there, a pretty good thing to achieve with the ESPN list, and that's 206 in the nation.
Sweet.
And so first team All-State and by USA Today, he had 61 tackles and 11 pass breakups and interception as a senior. Also, one of the biggest things that he had in our heartbreaking loss to Austin Westlake, he had a 100-yard interception return for a touchdown, which got us back in the game and was just an absolute lifter of the whole team, and almost put the whole team on his back. If we had gotten that kickoff recovery, we might have had a better chance and might have been able to do something. But
that was a interception from...
That was it. From
Sam
Mellinger. Yeah. So Sam trying to take off too big a bite, and he got stung by Mr. Jalen Jones. So congratulations on that. Started out as a freshman. He played in I think all the games. With one start as a cornerback. So he was a freshman All-American first team. And then, did pretty well as a sophomore. He appeared in 12 games, 6 starts, and defensive back. And he was also playing kickoff return, which was pretty doggone impressive when you can, end up being the kickoff returner. It shows speed, it shows aggressiveness and confidence that they have in you. And there's a lot of other accolades. And unfortunately, for his junior season, he started out in the game against Texas Tech. He was on fire. He ended up having, I think it was 7 tackles, and a 94-yard touchdown return for a TD, and tore his ACL. So he spent all of the 2018 season out and rehabbing, and I watched as he went through his rehab and was just super impressed with his attitude and his focus, and he just really stayed on it and looks to be in very good shape this season. The team has embraced him coming back, and so he should have an excellent senior season. I don't have his stats so far this year. Ole Miss is obviously down, in the SEC this year, but he's doing quite well so far. 2019 started out, even without playing the 2018 season, as an All-SEC third team, and then also All-SEC fourth team by Athlon. 2018, and this is the most significant stat, I think, is 2018 Dean's Fall Honor Roll and SEC Fall Academic Honor Roll. So, when you're making your grades and you're killing it academically, and you're also, doing great football-wise, it's just an impressive thing. So, Jalen Jones, shout out to you. We're extremely proud of you. So, keep repping for A-Town.
That's right.
And get it done.
Just for, you mentioned his stats. He's played 7 games, 25 solo tackles, 2 assists for a total of 27, 4 tackles for loss, and 5 pass breakups.
Yeah.
So
he's extremely active, very much a leader on the team, has become a more vocal leader. That's one of the things I talked to him about at Allen. The coaches would always ride him wanting to be a more vocal leader on the field, and he was a leader, but he did it kind of in his own way, and I think college has really brought out the best in him, and he's being a much more vocal, visible leader. So shout out, good on you.
Good kid.
Yeah.
He was fun to watch when he was here.
Loads of fun. He was always doing something fantastic.
Especially on the kickoffs. That was cool. And that memory of him returning that interception back against Westlake. Because the team needed a lift so bad.
And talk about going from the highest high down to the lowest low. But
he also did some reverses, too.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Kid can play. So stay healthy, Jalen, and continue success for you. And thank you, James, for that. Mm-hmm. We pulled that out. We are short tonight, as you can see. It's just the 3 of us. And, man, it's raining like a dog right now. Alan's in Madrid or somewhere.
He's off.
He's so proud.
Flitting around.
He got a shout out from the old coach Friday night. He puffing around here like a peacock, man. I got a shout out. Dang. Can y'all hear that? Yeah.
I don't know.
I know you can hear it.
I can hear it.
I'm asking the people listening.
I'm wondering how am I going to get out to my car? I'm going to have to wait for this thing to blow over.
We might be spending the night in the clubhouse.
Oh no!
Dang.
It's coming down.
It's raining hard. Sorry for the background noise, folks, but I can't stop the rain.
There's a song in there somewhere.
Who can stop the Credence? So Thad be working, Alan be working, and Nolan's actually. Well, he's out of town. I don't know if he's working. Because we never know what
I'm not going to say nothing.
Yeah, for real. So Friday night, last home game of the year until
Show
playoffs.
Up. Yep, loud and proud.
We'll be tailgating early as always. Y'all come by and say hi.
Yeah, looks like a high of 80. Looks like a perfect football weather. It's going to be down in the 70s to 60s.
Yeah.
For game time.
It'll be warmer than last week,
yep.
So you won't need your gloves. And
but still very comfortable.
It'll be great weather for football. It'll be a good game. It'll be a good test. For the boys against Jesuit. Dinner. Had to scarf it down there. And we'll see how they do. We'll see. It'll be a good test. See if they can stop that running game.
Yep.
Which they've been able to do all year.
I got my fingers crossed. Yeah, I'll look to see if we're doing that the little kickoff razzle dazzle again, because it actually worked quite well. They were punching it right down into the 20-25 yard line and signaling for fair catches. That's good.
Yep.
Good
Senior
practice.
parents, we wish you well as you go down on the field and get your picture taken with your son and daughter. All your senior parents, band, everybody, I guess.
Yeah.
Cheerleaders. Senior night.
Should be fun. Can't wait to see the hats that all the is it the cheerleaders? No, it's the Talonets. The Talonette senior Talonettes wear.
Yep.
Those are the goofiest things I've ever seen.
Passed down year to year too.
You think so? It's got to be. There's some creative stuff though.
For several years.
Very creative stuff. So keep it up, girls. Way to go.
Keep it up. And so, until then, folks, we will see you Friday night. Go be kind to someone.
Yes.
We're out.